Okay, so we're really happy to host WindSync, presented by the Adelphi University Department of Music. WindSync brings together the arts and the sciences. Now, before I tell you about their performance, you guys were really great clappers before. So by clapping, how many of you play an instrument? Awesome. Okay, and by clapping, how many of you like drawing and painting? Okay, so the arts really mix with the sciences all the time, and I'm really glad that this performance is going to mix a little bit of both, okay? So today you're going to voyage into outer space with WindSync after you've already been in space with Hoot Gibson, okay? So they're going to tell you all about the woodwind instruments behind you, and they also have some great images that were inspired by the moon, NASA, and Earth as well, okay? So let's welcome them to the theater just like you did before, okay? Here's WindSync.
Well, good morning, everyone. We are WindSync. We are a wind quintet that's based in Houston, Texas. And we're called a wind quintet because there are 5 of us, that's the quintet part, and we all play wind instruments. The piece you just heard was actually a piece by Jacques Offenbach, and it was called Overture to a Trip to the Moon. So this was a piece that was inspired by an imaginary journey to the moon, and it's an example of people kind of dreaming about space and space travel. We are going to continue the show with a little bit about us and these instruments, just in case you guys are wondering what these are. And this is inspired by our hometown of Houston. This is Hoedown from Copeland's Rodeo. Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. That's better. Thanks, guys. Now, I am Kara, and I'm from Texas, and I play the most unusual instrument in this ensemble, but maybe somebody here knows what it's called. Does anybody know? What's it called? Any other guesses? Yell it out. Yeah, the bassoon. Great, guys. So this instrument, it is unusual, and some people haven't even seen a bassoon before, so let me tell you about it. It makes sound actually with a really small part, even though it's the biggest instrument. And that small part we call a reed. This is what that sounds like. Now, that's kind of a silly sound. It sounds like a birthday horn. When I put it on the bassoon, it actually makes a much lower, deeper, and more pleasant sound like this. Since I can play so low, I like to play bass lines a lot, but right now I'll play a melody with WindSync. Here's how it sounds.
All right, Kara.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Garrett, and I'll bet a lot of you already know what this is. It's a flute, exactly. Do I have any flute players in the crowd here? Yes, strength in numbers. Good to be here, guys. All right, now the flute is very special because the three instruments, let's get Ani out of there, that are playing behind me right now, made almost entirely out of wood. The flute, as you can see, is made almost entirely out of metal, so it sounds much higher. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. Contrary to popular belief, my name is not clarinet person. I am Julian. Where are the clarinet players in the audience? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool, so I chose the clarinet because not only can I play hoedown rundowns, I can play all kinds of music. For example, all right, let's get back to the hoedown rundown. 1, 2, go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emily, and you all know what this is. It's an oboe. Can you all say that with me? Oboe. That's right. I heard a few of you saying as you came in that this was a clarinet, but it's not. It looks very similar because they're both made of black wood with silver keys. But actually the oboe is like the bassoon's little sister because I also play a double reed, which means I have two pieces of wood. And my reed can make it sound just like Kara's, and we can actually play full songs on just our reeds. But it sounds a lot better on the oboe, so now I'm going to play a little melody with WindSync. Good morning again. My name is Ani, and I'm kind of the oddball in WindSync because I play the only brass instrument. Do we have any horn players, trumpet players, trombone players, tuba players? Yeah, all right, cool. This is called a French horn, and the French horn is the longest brass instrument. If I were to uncoil all of these tubes and slides and stretch them out, it would be taller than Garrett, standing on top of Emily, standing on top of Kara. Maybe not Julian, but it takes a lot of air to play, and I can play the loudest in WindSync.
All right, now how many of you guys saw that space shuttle statue that was in the front of the museum when you were coming in today? Awesome, great. Now, a shuttle just like that, 40 years ago, launched off and delivered a probe into outer space. And we think that that particular probe is really extra cool. Why? Well, this one, it was called Voyager, and on Voyager, there were records. Now, most of us don't even use things like CDs or cassette tapes or anything anymore, but we can probably remember what they look like, or maybe your parents have some that they listen to at home. A record was basically this big disc, and it contained music, and not just that, it had images, and it had sounds as well. Okay? So think of it almost as like a big storage drive that contained all kinds of evidence of what Earth was like. Now, music in outer space, that's kind of a funny idea, and actually I want to quiz you guys real quick, and this is your question. True or false, you can play instruments in space. Think about that. Can you play instruments in space? All right, with quietly raised hands, who votes for true? Yes, you can play instruments in space. Who votes for false? No, you can't play instruments. Wow, so we're split about 50-50. Hands down. Thanks, guys. What do you guys think? True, you can play instruments in space? False, you cannot play instruments in space.
Or you just say suspended in space.
Ah, okay. So Ani's thinking that this is maybe more complicated than it seems. It is both true and false. For one, it's false. You cannot play instruments in outer space. There's no air in outer space to carry the sound. In fact, you can't even hear if you're floating around in outer space. How crazy is that? But true, if you are on a space shuttle, you sure can play instruments. And in fact, recently, just this past year, an astronaut brought a flute onto the International Space Station and played it. So we can pretend now that we're taking a trip into outer space. We are now on the Voyager probes, and you guys get to see what whoever intercepts these space probes will see when they look at the record and when they listen to the music on it. Up on the screen, you will see images from Earth. Right now we have a group of musicians. Now they're playing string instruments. There's 4 of them, so we call them a string quartet. And they're going to be playing the piece that you will hear us play at the very beginning. Then it'll cycle through different pictures. You'll see things that are living, things that are maybe plants, things that are natural features. And these are all things that the scientists and the astronauts wanted people in space, maybe even aliens, to see. Okay? All right, so you guys are now our aliens. We are the musicians, and we're going to play music from this record for you. This is our Voyager Golden Record Suite.
So throughout this performance, you're going to be hearing speeches that were given by some of the leaders and other artists involved with this project. The first one is from Kurt Waldheim, who was the Secretary General of the United Nations at the time. We step out of our universe into the solar system, seeking only peace and friendship, to teach if we are called upon, to be taught if we are fortunate. We know full well that our planet and all its inhabitants are but a small part of the immense universe that surrounds us, and it is with humility and hope that we take this step.
So, that next piece you're about to hear is by one of the most famous composers. Who's ever heard of Johann Sebastian Bach? Ooh, some of you have. Great, put your hands down. So this one is arranged for 3 of our instruments, the oboe, the clarinet, and the bassoon. And we are the reed players of WindSync. So reed trio is actually quite a common group of instruments to play together. But we're gonna play a piece by Bach that was originally for piano. And there's 3 separate lines. And so see if you can hear each of the lines played by the 3 of us and how they interweave with each other. This is one of Bach's famous piano fugues.
Next up, we will be featuring our clarinet person, Julian, on the clarinet.
I bet some of your parents or some of the teachers here recognize that song. That was Johnny Be Good, right? By Chuck Berry. Great. So this last song that we're going to be playing for you that is on the Voyager Golden Record, floating out there in space, is a mariachi tune. Now, who's heard mariachi music before? Cool, great. So, for those of you who don't know mariachi music, the rhythm is really, really important. And so we need your help to get through this last song on our Voyager Golden Record. Because we're going to be teaching you some clapping rhythms to help us get through the piece. And we're going to split you guys, oop, not yet. We're going to split you guys right down the middle. So this will be group A with Garrett over there, all right? This will be, whoosh. This will be group B with Julian. All right, shh. Now, since a lot of you guys, I heard you guys at the beginning clapping because you played instruments, right? And a lot of you play flute, play clarinet, etc. So that means we can teach you some pretty cool rhythms. But we're going to start with a very simple one first, all right? So group A, we're going to have a very simple rhythm. Garrett's going to demonstrate it for you. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going. Good. All right. That's great. So, even though it's a really easy rhythm, the danger is that you don't want to rush because Group B has a rhythm that's going to fit inside of Group A's rhythm, right? So, let's have Group B follow Julian here. It's not too hard, but let's have Julian do a demonstration first. Here is Group B's, and can we stop the clapping? That's right. All right, here we go. This is Group B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Keep going. Wow, you guys are awesome. That was so great. So, if those of you who are in band and orchestra know what this means, it means stop, right? This is called a cutoff. So when you see one of us or all of us do this, then stop clapping, all right? So you guys have noticed that Group A's rhythm and Group B's rhythm, they go together. So it's very important that each of us does our best to stay in the rhythm. Let's try to do it together. Group A, Group B, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, you guys are great. Keep going. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. Woo! All right, there's the cutoff right there. That was really great. All right. So in this song, this mariachi song, it's called El Cascabel. The clapping portion will come in the middle of the song. So you're gonna see Garrett and I put our instruments down, and Garrett's gonna be Group A, I'm gonna come over here and be with Group B, and we're gonna do some clapping. We may switch it up on you, all right? But then this clapping session actually stops, so you're gonna see us cut you off, and we'll finish out the song, okay? So let's have, so when we start the clapping, let's have Group A keep the big claps and Group B with the little claps. We may switch it up. But this is El Cascabel. So now I'll just say a few words from one of the scientists that worked on this project. His name is Carl Sagan. He was one of the most famous astronomers, astrophysicists that ever lived. And he said this about this project and the Earth that we live on. Look at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you know, everyone you love, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was lived their lives. It underscores the responsibility we have to deal kindly with each other and to preserve and cherish this pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Thank you so much.
Great, so now you've met a real live astronaut, you've heard some of the music that is actually flying around in space, and you've seen some of the pictures that are also on that record. But I bet some of you are thinking, math equations and an astronaut guy. I saw maybe a building, I saw a dolphin. I don't know about these pictures. I have something in my mind that I think would represent Earth to all of the universe. And I actually want you guys to think, what picture would you add to the pictures that you saw? And what song would you add to represent your life and maybe what Earth means to you? And I'm going to give you guys actually a couple minutes, and you'll be able to share that idea with your neighbor, so you'll have permission to speak. Now, after we are done with that sharing time, we are going to come back and we're going to actually play a little call for you. So can everyone agree that once you hear that call from us, we'll play some music, that you'll be silent and return your attention face forward, silently nod to show that you agree with that? Okay, cool. So let's figure it out. What music should we put on this record? What image should we add to this record? All right, ready, go. Great, I hope you guys came up with some really cool ideas. I actually want to ask WindSync about some of their ideas. Garrett, what would you take?
I would want to share a picture with aliens of my dog and my cat.
I would like to share a picture of an oboe, because that's what I play.
I think I really like the idea of a song that maybe my mom sang to me, so I would probably put a lullaby on the record.
This is hard. I think I would put a picture of ice cream, and that might have already been up there, but I would feature ice cream in the picture because I think there was other food on there. Okay.
Let's see, I think for an image I would use just WindSync in Halloween costumes, because that's what humans do. We wear costumes and look silly. And for music, I think You are my sunshine.
So right now, we want to open the floor up to you guys to see if you have any questions about us, our instruments, or this cool project of photos that you saw up here from the Voyager space mission. We'd love to answer any of those questions you might have. And you're going to have to speak really loud when we call on you because it's a little hard to hear in here. Okay? So why don't we start with questions for Garrett and the flute.
Yeah, great. So if you have a specific question for one of the members here, we'll kind of go down the line. So if we have general questions or any questions for me or the flute, I'm happy to answer those right now. So can I get you at the back in, I think, a purple shirt?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. How does it feel to be playing an instrument?
Oh, that's a nice question. How does it feel to be playing this instrument? So we all started picking up these instruments probably around middle school, 7th grade-ish. And it felt really good to get this instrument in my hand and to be able to practice and explore and learn and get better. And actually every day, we all still practice these instruments and we get to improve and get to play with all of our friends and make really awesome music. So it's a really special experience for me. Thank you for that question. Can I get someone at the back there, maybe in the light pink? Yes. Was it hard when I started? The answer, oh my gosh, I'm getting tangled up here. The answer to that is yes, and it's the same as picking up any new craft. If you're practicing your spelling, if you're practicing a new sport, it's always a little bit difficult when you're learning the rules and how things work. But that's one of the joys of picking up something new and getting to learn how it works. So I actually really enjoyed the challenge of learning this new instrument. Okay, let's get someone around here. You in the black shirt.
When you started, did you get inspiration from anybody, maybe Ed Sheeran even?
Oh, that's cool. Did I get inspiration? And I think she said from a cheering event? Is that what you said? Oh, Ed Sheeran. So Ed Sheeran wasn't around when I was picking up the flute, but yes, I actually, yeah, I'm Canadian, so Celine Dion was maybe my inspiration. But yes, actually, so I loved music and I loved hearing people, not just flute players, but like maybe some pop artists or something like that, that really like got me excited about being able to play music. So absolutely, I was inspired by other people. We're gonna move on to Emily and the oboe.
Yes, the oboe. All right, let's have, I'm only calling people who are sitting quietly with their hand raised. Let's have you right here in the black shirt.
Did you play any other instruments before the oboe?
Oh yeah, and we'll get your question too, okay? So he asked, did I play any other instruments besides the oboe? And the answer is yes, I actually started on the violin. Does anyone play violin in here? Oh, a few people. Okay, good, hands down. Yeah, I started playing violin when I was 4 years old, which was very young. And then I picked up oboe, like Garrett said, in middle school. And I also dabbled a little bit on the drums and piano. But all of us actually play other instruments. Garrett plays saxophone, Kara plays piano, Ani plays guitar and trumpet, and Julian plays piano and saxophone. Right? Yeah, so we all play a lot of different instruments here. And also, let's have your question too. When or where? Both. When? When did we all meet? Well, WindSync has actually been around for 10 years now. This is our 10th year as an ensemble. And we all met at Rice University in Houston. We were all college students there studying music. Specifically. And so we all decided to form a chamber group because we wanted to go and make our own decisions on what pieces to play and to experiment with these 5 instruments. So that's a great question. Let's have one more from, yes, you, the heart.
What was the hardest part when you were learning how to play the oboe? What was the hardest part?
Oh, she says, she's asking what's the hardest part when I was learning how to play the oboe. Well, a little known fact is for oboists and bassoonists, we make our own reeds, which is very difficult. So it takes years and years and years to learn how to make these reeds because they are very, very small, at least, yeah, and they're very delicate. So we have to make these reeds all the time. And they actually come from cane that looks like bamboo. So it comes in a tube. And we have to learn how to use all these machines to make it really thin, to tie it together, to scrape it down, and all that good stuff to actually make a working reed. So that's something unique about the double reed instruments, is that we make our own mouthpieces. And let's have now questions for Ani and the horn.
Yes, thank you, Emily. That was lovely. How about right here? Yeah, sure.
When you said ice cream, I guessed it before I was saying ice cream.
We have another ice cream fan here. Yeah, I actually think I heard somebody say that, and then I was like, that's a good idea. How about right there in the, yeah, looking around. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, him. Stop looking. What made me want to start playing the French horn? That's a good question. I wanted to play the French horn because I really liked the way it sounded. I also happened to start in a beginning brass class, so my options didn't really include these. My options were trumpet, French horn, trombone, euphonium, or tuba. But I really liked the way the way it looked and sounded, and so that's why I picked it. I also started on the trumpet and then I switched. So if you guys are interested in starting instruments, feel free to kind of dabble until you find the instrument that really kind of speaks to you. How about back there in the NASA t-shirt? Yeah.
What is your favorite instrument?
What is my favorite instrument? Well, I've spent the most time playing this one and I love it a lot, but I think my favorite instrument is the oboe. I really like their octave slurs. Let's actually move on to questions for Julian and the clarinet.
All right, clarinet. Let's take a couple of questions. Yes. Cute. I actually started out on clarinet because my grandfather is a jazz clarinetist in Puerto Rico, and my mom also played the clarinet. So when it came time for me to choose an instrument, I didn't really get to choose. They just said, here, you're playing this. I said, okay. And then I learned the saxophone after that. Yeah, it's a great instrument. Hi. You have a question or are you just waving at me? The question was, what's my favorite song to play and... well, my favorite song to play... I really enjoy that mariachi tune that you guys heard earlier, El Cascabel. It's always really fun. We'll each say that our instrument is the hardest to play, but scientists have found that the bassoon has the most primitive and complex fingering system out of any instrument. Yeah, she has like 10 keys per thumb that she's responsible for. I only have a button, so there's that. Yes, Blue.
Why do you sit in a chair?
Why am I sitting in a chair? Because I'm old. Next question. And the orange. It totally helps me breathe, lung capacity, all of that good stuff. Okay, hold your questions if you have any more. Send us an email, find us on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, at WindSync, look for us. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out. You guys have been a lovely audience. Let's give a round of applause to the museum for having us all here. Now we'll turn our attention back to our teachers.
Okay, what do you guys say for WindSync?